Hello there. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga. And this is episode number 970. That is Nuevo 70. Nuevo 70. Not 76. Nuevo 60. What's going on, people? How you doing? How you feeling? What's going on, people? How you doing? How you feeling? I'm feeling pretty great. I'm feeling pretty fine. I'm a little bit moist. I'm a little bit tight. Had a good little gym session yesterday. I'm gonna have another one today. It's a 30-day lock-in actually. I'm not too sure if you guys are aware of this, but it's another 30-day lock-in from the 20th of November to the 20th of fucking December. The great lock-in begins. We are not playing around. So those of you that are out there playing around, doing whatever you're doing, I pray for you and I hope you jump on board with what I'm on. But we're locking in for the next 20 days. We're going Super Saiyan mode. We're going flipping crazy. We're doing a lot of running. We're doing a lot of lifting of weights. We're going to be sweaty. We're going to be tight. But by the end of it, we should have Dua Lipa abs, you know? By the end of the 20 days, by the end of the 30 days, by the end of the 31st day, by the 20th of fucking December, we should have Dua Lipa abs. You know, we want Dua Lipa abs. We want Ice Spice Batty. You get me? That's how we're doing it. That's how we're freaking doing it. We want fucking Cristiano Ronaldo sucking shoulders. That's how we're freaking doing it. So make sure you jump on board. Make sure you jump on board. So today, loads to talk about. Let's just jump right into it. Let's not waste any time with you guys. First thing I want to discuss. I don't usually discuss comedy stuff on this particular pod. I leave that for my comedy show, my random show, which you can find in my main channel. I'll put the link in the description. I'll put the link there on. You can find it. It's called Random Shows, where I talk about mostly random topics concerning comedy and all that malarkey. So if you want to want to check out what I have to say regarding the stand-up comedy scene out there in LA, out there in Austin, Texas and beyond, make sure you check out my channel, Random Show. You can find that on my YouTube main page, on my link tree in the descriptions, blah, 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 blah. So I don't usually talk about that sort of stuff, right? I don't talk about Rogan, I don't talk about Brendan Schaub, all that sort of channel. I leave it all to the Random Show. But I thought I had to mention today this really surprising twist, a surprising guest on the recent episode of T-Fat-K, which was Brendan Schaub's wife, which is who is lovingly known as Slow Joe on the Fire and the Kids subreddit, but is also known as Joanna Zanella Schaub. She appeared as a guest on the T-Fat-K, the Fire and the Kid, the podcast that Brendan has with Brian Callen, and yeah, a bit of an odd choice as a guest. To me, it kind of signals that the pod is obviously on the way down. I think once you start getting your spouses involved for interviews and stuff, I think that's probably a sign that your podcast is failing. You're on, you're on a downward slope. Things are not going well if you start kind of involving your wife, involving family members and shit. It's a bit strange. So the fact that he's got his wife on there is odd, especially if you remember the history of Brendan and them together. There was a period where he kind of, wouldn't really refer to her even as his wife. He'd always call her his girl. Like, there was always a bit of distance towards it. He'd always be going on the road and trying to essentially escape and run away from his family, which he still does now. I'm not gonna lie, he still kind of does it now with this whole like car addiction things he has and becoming a fucking mechanic. He still kind of does it now, but it is kind of funny to see how things have changed since he's quit stand-up comedy. It's really funny, and I don't know. I wonder if there's like a strategic reason behind it. I wonder if the appearance of Joanna Zanella Schaub on the recent episode of the fucking T-Fat-K, episode number 1141, I wonder if this is like a soft launch for them doing a family channel. Because I have noticed the other day recently, actually, that Brendan Schaub is appearing more on her fucking YouTube, more on her Instagram. In the past, again, they were very weird in their Instagram kind of communication. They didn't really have a lot of pictures of each other on there. But he's trying to do a lot more content with his wife on Instagram. He's not just like appearing in pictures. He's actually doing content. They did some weird like TikTok thing about height. I saw another thing about him lifting her up. I don't know, whatever. It feels like they're trying to soft launch some sort of family channel. They're always posting their kids on social, which I think is really odd. I'm not the biggest fan of posting your children on social media, especially for someone like a Brendan, who's like one of the most hated and derided people across the internet. Like, everybody fucking hates that guy. So for you, I feel like to go ahead and involve your kids in your social, I personally think it's a little bit irresponsible. It's a little bit irresponsible to have your kids involved in your social media or on your social media presence when you're so derided, when you're so like, when basically everyone fucking hates you. But he's got her on there specifically, I would imagine, Specifically, I'd imagine because they're running out of guests and they're running out of people to talk to. But it was a bit of a strange one to kind of talk about. I'm going to play a clip from it actually that I think was kind of funny and interesting to kind of talk about. And then we're going to obviously continue on with our regular scheduled cultural commentary programming. But I don't usually talk about this stuff on here. I mentioned previously, I usually reserve it for the random show. So please forgive me for this bit of information. But it is an interesting topic to talk about because I feel like this is also feels like it's coming off the back of the Akash's wife thing. You know, I think they probably trashed Akash for like, you know, letting his wife embarrass him like the way she did over the last few weeks on social media. So I'm wondering if this is like him trying to, you know, somewhat signal to everybody that, look at my wife. She's under manners. My wife is a good wife. I've got a good one. Like, do you know what I mean? Him trying to like, you know, flex a little bit on Akash. I'm not too sure. Either way, strange thing to kind of, you know, consume, because one thing you realize watching this clip is that a lot of these stand-up comedian guys, I'm not too sure if it's because it's the occupation. You kind of have to be in a constant state of Arrested Development. You kind of have to act like a big child. You kind of have to have this Peter Pan syndrome about you. I'm not sure if that's the case, but they don't come across as great husbands. They don't come across as great. No, forget great husbands. They don't come across as great partners. Like, these are like, you know, in Brendan's case, he's like mid-40s. Brian Callen is in his 60s. And the things they're talking about, understanding like relationship dynamics, about arguments and how to talk to each other and communication. It's like, brother, you're 60. The other guy's nearly 45. Like, how are you only figuring out this stuff now? Like, what the fuck? It's very bad. I think it's an odd thing to even admit. But hey, let's play the clip anyway so you can see what I mean. This is Joanna on fucking the Brendan Shaw podcast, or The Fire and the Kid, episode number 1141. Let's play the clip.
The kids are easy. Another thing we fight about.
Why can't I hear that? Why can't I hear that? Why is it on mute? Let's get that going. Bear me 1 second here. Why is that on mute? Audio speakers, cool. We got that running. Let's go back again.
Is because we talk for.
Why can't I hear that? Odd. For some reason, it's not playing. I wonder
like
if they fucking
this on a podcast.
Okay, I can't.
So
I guess you guys can hear it, but for some reason I can't hear it. That obviously is not advantageous. Okay, there we go. Now let me do this one more time. Bear with me here. We're live. Let's go.
So when I emphasize,
I still can't fucking hear it. Why can't I hear it? I still can't fucking hear it, mate. I don't know why. Bear with me 1 second as I kind of figure this out here. Let's see. Maybe I fucked something up on here. Maybe I messed something up a little bit. I'm not too sure what exactly, because I didn't touch any of the settings. I didn't do a single thing to the settings, but for some reason, it's not allowing me to just listen to the fucking shit. Okay, let's do this one more time. Let's do this one more freaking time. Come on, you motherfucker. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
It's sort of good.
What the fuck is going on? I don't know why I can't hear it. Scarlet 212, Black Hole.
size stuff.
Still nothing. Only thing I could do is when I do this. Oh, it's not even recognizing the fucking headphones. That's the problem, isn't it? It's not even recognizing my headphones. I don't know why. When I plug my headphones in, it doesn't recognize my headphones. I don't know why that's the case. Okay, let me just quickly double check this. Why don't I have my headphones here? Output, MacBook speakers. Why are my headphones showing? Okay, this is bizarre. This is fucking strange. This is fucking strange and bizarre. So I guess what we'll have to do, just to fucking fug it out, we'll just have to run it through my MacBook speakers and then pick up through the microphone, right? I guess we just have to do it that way. We'll just fug it out that way. Let's go. We'll just fug it out. Because I don't know why it's doing this, but for some reason, headphones are not working. Cool, bless. Let's fug it out. Hopefully this works.
But I'm dramatic about stuff. And the way I'm very direct, you and me talk to each other. I talk to everybody like that. Oh, yeah. So when I come home and it's super direct, it usually doesn't go well. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to lie. Isn't that like a weird thing to admit? Isn't that like a strange conclusion to come to as a nearly mid-40s man, to say, oh, I didn't realize that I couldn't talk to my wife the same way I talk to my co-host on the podcast. I couldn't talk to my wife the same way I talk to the bros. I don't know. I just think it's a strange thing to admit. You know what I get from this, by the way? This little exchange. What I get from this is that they didn't really talk or hang out prior. This is the really depressing, sad part about this whole interview and this appearance of Brendan Schaub's wife on the podcast. I get the feeling they've only recently learned to like know each other in recent years because Brendan's quit stand-up comedy and he's probably more at home now. He's not on the road as much. He's not traveling as much. So they're in communication way more. They're in each other's face way more. So they're having to like talk to each other and communicate, and they're maybe picking up on each other's bad habits and, you know, doing what couples do, working through their issues. But this is stuff you should learn at the beginning of your relationship. Not now, you know, but because he's only quit doing stand-up recently, you know, maybe in the last few years, he's suddenly discovered, oh shit, I can't talk to my girl. I can't talk to my wife like I talk to my bros. It's like, brother, you're nearly 40. You're nearly 45. How are you only discovering this now? Weird.
Saying like that, she'd be like, who the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, that's my verbiage, though.
Oh, no. I said to my wife the other day, I go, well, that's a retarded thing to do, right? Because that's what a retard does. Because I was in a bad mood.
Didn't go well.
It didn't go well for me.
Again, Brian Callen admitting that is also strange because he is what? He's in his second marriage now. You're in your second marriage now, and you've only recently discovered that you can't call your wife, or you can't even intimate that your wife might be an R word, might be a fucking redact. And not even if you're using it in the technical kind of sense, not even if you're trying to be just like, you know, you're trying to say it's an observation and it's not maybe a judgment or anything. You're just stating a matter of fact. You can't talk to women like that at all. You'd imagine someone who's been divorced once would kind of know that, you know? You'd think divorce would probably teach you a little bit. Like, hey, you know what? I fucked up the first time around. I kind of realized the little things that I did that annoyed my ex-wife. I'm not going to repeat them now, my new wife. But no, for some reason, man's in his 60s and realizing, oh shit, I can't necessarily talk to my wife the same way I would talk to my bros. Interesting.
I'm sure.
That was a bad day. My wife went, who are you talking to? Because you're not talking to me that way, right? She went, you're not talking to me. She literally was like, it was like.
Yeah, it was like laser.
She went, excuse me? Well, who are you talking? And I was like, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that would be something. I'm like fucking backtracking.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I got scared.
The worst ever is we'll mess around, you know, like always joke around. We're like, bitch, you crazy, or bitch, please, you know, like mess around like with that.
Yeah.
And then we're actually arguing. And I was like, bitch, like, because I'm just you saying it. And I was like, oh, no, you know?
What happened that night? His ass had to go to the upstairs bedroom.
Upstairs.
Really?
I took my stuff upstairs.
I was like, nope. I said,
Yeah.
I'm not
It
going
was
to
just
talk
a
anymore.
slip, you know, because I've been saying bitch so many times.
I said, what
I was
did
like,
you
bitch,
say?
You're not
As soon as
allowed.
I said, I went,
Yep.
oh, no.
Learning how to fight. I had a dentist when I got married. He goes, learn how to fight. It's really important. It's the best advice in the world. You
That's what I
can't
tell
call
her.
each other's names. You
No,
can
we never
complain,
will.
but you
No,
can't.
never.
No, I
He
never
did call
would
me a
call.
bitch, but then he went upstairs and we didn't sleep together.
Yo, isn't this a comedy podcast too? Like, what the fuck is this conversation? Isn't this meant to be like a comedy-based podcast? Why are we having this conversation? Why are we learning about the inner workings, inner dynamics of their relationship? Why would his listeners even care about this? Such a bizarre podcast.
Never left the house. Like, it's never been so bad we leave the house.
But you guys respect each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You just do.
Oh, yeah.
I think in the 14 years that we've been together, we've kind of like, we've both obviously grown up very much.
Yeah.
You know, I was in my mid-20s when we met. I wasn't a mom. I didn't have all these other things. So I think when you are in your 20s, when you don't have kids, right, your fights are different.
Yeah.
Because I was like passionate. And if we fought, I was like, no, we're going to figure it out right now. And we're going to talk about it. And he's like, nope, don't want to talk about it. Don't want to figure it out, whatever, right? So then that would make me more mad. So I was like, what do you mean? Like, we have to figure this out. Whatever, fast forward to now, I'm just like, I don't have the energy anymore to figure it out and talk about it and like, tell me, let's vote. You know, I'm just like, you know what?
Kids.
We're going to just, we're just going to, I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And tomorrow morning, we'll see where we're at when we wake up.
Sounds like apathy, innit? Sounds a bit like apathy, no? I don't know. This sounds like a bit of a miserable relationship. Like, what? I don't know. Not to judge anybody, because it's hard to do these things on camera and talk to your spouse or your whatever. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's awkward. It's always going to be awkward. But this doesn't sound like a fun love. Like, because that's the thing, though. I think every relationship, love is expressed in different ways. That's why I got a lot of stick yesterday, right? Because of the way I responded to the Akash Singh, Jaslyn Singh embarrassment debacle. I got a lot of stick. I saw the comments in the stream chat. I saw the comments after the fact. People were not happy with what I said about her. A lot of people were trying to make it seem like I was being a simp, I was being a cuck, I was making excuses for Akash Singh, his wife. But I don't know. I'm grown up enough. I'm mature enough to know that other people's relationships are other people's relationships, and their expression of love, their expression of togetherness, whatever it is, could be different to mine. Everyone does it different. And some people, they just they seem to look, although it sounds depressing how she kind of spoke about how they argue now that they have kids, and that she doesn't really bother to even try and sort it out, because whatever, you'll still be here tomorrow. They're almost like welded together. They're not going to leave each other because they have kids, so it is what it is. Just have to sort it out. That sounds kind of depressing to me, but for them it works, clearly, because they don't seem to ever, I don't doubt they're ever going to not be together. Right, they're literally made for each other. Like, if you check out Joanna's social media, how she kind of talks, how she presents herself, like, she's met the perfect guy in Brendan, and Brendan met the perfect woman in him. Like, they're well suited to each other. She kind of leaves him alone to do whatever. He gets his trophy wife and stuff, and they just kind of live this life that they live. But I think it's really unfair sometimes with some people online, with how harshly we all judge others in their relationships when people just figure out a way to make it work for themselves. And I think it's really kind of odd when people do it online, because there's a lot of people that go through worse than people that see online, or they have people in their family that are going through worse, but then they love to judge others online way harshly. It's like, come on, man, let's give them a break. But this doesn't sound like something I'd be into, you know? Just to put the cows out there. Doesn't sound like something I'd be into.
Has grown up more so on my side than hers.
No, I know that you are. Well, this is what you have in common with Danny, in my opinion. Like, Danny knows exactly who she is, and she knows exactly what her boundaries are, and she knows why they're there. And you were always that way. Mm-hmm. I know from him, I know there are certain things that were not going to fly. Like, there were certain things. It's like when you're in Australia, okay, in the outback, and you're in a body of water. You can fish and you can stay on that boat. Everyone knows you're going to have a great time and catch some fish. We also know you don't get in the water and go swimming, because you're going to die. And you have a moat. There's a moat that we know is full of crocodiles. And that's my wife too. It's like, there are certain things that just aren't going to fly, and everything else is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's been a lot of our relationship.
I think she kind of got lost with that analogy. I'm not going to lie. I think she kind of got lost with that analogy. She's looking at him blankly. Oh, bless her. I think she kind of got lost. I think Brendan Shaw's wife got kind of lost with that analogy. She's like, Australia, what? Like, she was a little bit lost there.
14 years.
When to not.
14 fucking years?
14. I don't believe that sometimes. I'm like, no, it's probably been like 5 or 6. But then I'm like, well, no, we have an almost 10-year-old. I was pregnant for a whole miserable year, so that's 11.
I don't know how you can be pregnant for a year, by the way. I don't know if it doesn't work that way. I also don't like the description of describing her pregnancy as being miserable. She does that a lot, but I think that might be a common thing on social media with mums. I'm not gonna be too harsh on her, but she does do this thing. From what I discussed on the Random Show, make sure to check out the Random Show. Random Show later on tonight, 11:30 UK time. Random Show later on tonight, 11:30 UK time. We're gonna break this down even more. But she does do this thing where she kind of complains about her kids and about being a mum. But I think that might be something a lot of like young mums do on social media. It's just like, oh my God, the kids woke me up. Oh, these guys, I can't wait until they're off. I can't wait till they go back to school. I fucking hate my life. Like, it's this weird, like, somewhat sarcastic, somewhat truthful. It's a strange thing. I personally wouldn't like it. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why are you talking about our kids this way? Why are you talking this way online? Like, please chill. And also, as a kid, I wouldn't also like my mum, essentially, ruined the day that I came into her life because I don't know, she stopped being a fucking city girl or something. I don't know. It's a bit strange, but again, maybe it's just like a mum thing online. So I'm none of my business. None of my business.
You know, plus the 2.5 before that. That's 14 years. That's so long. It's crazy.
Yeah. But also, I wasn't like winning any husband awards or dad awards to start.
It was tough.
Listen, man, join the club.
Yeah.
You know, we were
especially when you were doing comedy too.
That was the worst. That was the worst time for us.
For us,
like traveling and all that.
Yeah.
That's what you like, man. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like my toxic side is this. My toxic side is that I kind of like the fact that Brendan has like, I won't say brainwashed, but I like how he's convinced his wife that the reason why he was a bad partner, a bad husband, you know, whatever back then was because he was doing stand-up comedy. I like how he's convinced that was the reason. The reason why he was on the road, cheating a bunch, smashing randoms, not being at home, not being a good supportive, you know, whatever parent, taking no part in rearing and raising the children and shit, and just not generally being around was primarily because of stand-up. Stand-up, it was stand-up's fault. Blame the team. You know how he does the blame the team thing? Let's blame stand-up. Let's not blame myself. Let me not say I did anything wrong. Let me not say I took you for granted. Let me not own up to my mistakes and my fuck-ups and my fucking giving into temptation, right? And my disrespecting of you. No, I'm going to blame stand-up comedy for the reason why I was a bad dad. Which is weird because it almost feels like he's judging Brian Callen. And it's almost weird how Brian Callen doesn't get offended by it because he's still doing stand-up, like, or other comedians. So what he's trying to basically say is that you can't be a dad, you can't be a family man, you can't be a good husband if you pursue a career in stand-up comedy. Which is kind of wild, to be honest, you know? It's kind of an insane thing to say. But I do like that he's done it because he's convinced his wife that was the case. So my toxic side is I like the brainwashing. I kind of like the brainwashing, I'm not going to lie.
Late at night at the Comedy Store, running amok with, you know, our boys.
Running amok.
And then here I am at night dealing with the kids by myself.
That's
which created resentment.
Well,
you know,
when I pay alimony, I always do it with very openly. I'm like, you.
That makes sense though. The resentment she's talking about, that probably explains. I wonder. You know what I'm thinking of actually. That probably explains why she used to go on those Vegas trips. If you're a follower of the stuff that I do on the random show, you know that, you know, Slow Joanna used to be a serial Vegas every year vacation person. She doesn't do it too often nowadays, but that used to be her thing. Her and her girls would go to Vegas and she'd be posting mad first traps that entire weekend, mad first traps. She'd go get a room in a nice hotel and they'd just sit by the pool and just be taking pictures of each other and going to have drinks, you know, doing what girls do. And whenever she'd go to the hotel, she'd get a bouquet of flowers. I don't know who the flowers are from, whether they were just randomly given to her by the hotel, whether some fucking big baller out there in Las Vegas was buying. I don't know what was going on there. But it does seem like she'd stopped doing it now. So maybe because Brendan is at home now because he doesn't do stand-up, there's less resentment and there's less need to like, okay, cool, you went on the road, now I'm going on the road. And now she's kind of happy to do first picks, you know? Now she's happy to take first picks in her bedroom, you know? The bedroom first picks are okay. We don't need to go outside.
Here you go. It's, you deserve it. You deserve this, you know? And as a result, me and Amanda get along great. Yeah. We're great.
Man pays 20k alimony, you know, by the way, in case you're wondering. Brian's talking about paying alimony to his ex-wife, Amanda Humphries or something. He pays her 20k alimony. I think until the kids I think he's got like 4 more years, isn't it? Because I think alimony's until the kids are 18. 20k a month. 20k a month. Yo, LA divorce separation laws are brutal, bro. 20k a month is fucking insane. But again, you probably put her through the ringer, innit? You probably put her through the fucking ringer.
Friends, we're in each other's corner.
That's good though. That's the worst of it. At least you guys have a good relationship now. Man. You know,
we've always been, you know. But it's like, here you go.
You're paying for it now.
Yeah,
it's just not a conductive environment. I'm not saying everyone's like this, but for me, it just wasn't a conductive environment for me to excel in other parts of my life.
No, dude.
Like I loved it. It was a great time. But then it came at the...
Well, you were never going to not be successful.
But that also isn't a good way to admit your mistakes, in my personal opinion. How can you admit and own up to your mistakes when you're not owning up to your mistakes? You're blaming stand-up. He's not saying, hey, I was a bad person. I didn't maybe, I didn't consider your feelings and whatever else it may be to his wife. I was, whatever. I maybe disrespected you. I maybe broke our vows, whatever the fuck thing is. Like, own up to it, innit? Just own up to it and accept your own responsibility of what you've done wrong. You don't blame your job for the reason why you did it, because there's plenty of people working in stand-up, plenty of people working in nightlife, even people working in entertainment who don't always cheat on their wives. That's a weird fucking excuse. But I do, like I said, my toxic side, I do kind of rate that he blames stand-up for cheating on his wife, and he's done it so well that his wife believes him. Like, the reason why he cheated, it's like, no, I don't think that's the reason. I don't think so anyway. I think the reason was because he decided to do it. I don't think he decided to do it only because he was doing stand-up. I don't think stand-up made him be an arsehole. Stand-up didn't make him, send those addies and baddies texts, That moment where he was running around the BGL with the addies and baddies, I don't think it's primarily because of stand-up. But I could be wrong.
Yes.
And it's really hard to be successful.
Yeah.
And it's really hard especially to be successful when you have to come up with all the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a true entrepreneur, when you're a comic or a podcaster, it's your business. So if you're not always thinking about how to be different or come up with things or sell tickets, that's so much work. It's just constant.
Exhausting, yeah.
It's you're also trying to come up with stuff all the time. So it's hard
to be creative. You have to be creative, and you
always.
Always. But then it's like you're being creative, like you're sacrificing.
Yeah, what
That's
experience?
the dance. That's the dance.
That doesn't even make any sense. So you can't be ultra creative in your work, but because it's gonna hurt your family. Like, what? Again, I rate the fucking manipulation. I rate the gaslighting. Right? I rate the brainwashing, but that doesn't make any sense. Oh, if I put too much creativity into my work, I'm not gonna be able to be a good husband. Like, what? Huh?
And you get better at it as you get older, but when you're young, yeah,
good luck.
And also, I think you're the same way. I came from a traditional household, meaning the mom was the housewife who did everything, and the father was gone and working all the time. So I never saw my dad. So my model,
your dad.
My model wasn't
work.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of blaming. Like, I don't know. Is this a rich person thing? Like, what? Is this an LA thing? There's a lot of blaming on other people. Blaming stand-up, blaming your family, blaming your dad. So the reason why you were a shitty husband in your first marriage was because your dad wasn't around and used to work all the time. Wouldn't that make you do the opposite? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? If you grew up in a family where your dad wasn't around and you kind of saw the strain that put on your family, you maybe saw how it kind of affected your mum negatively. You obviously experienced how it hurt you growing up and stuff. Wouldn't you want to do the opposite? How does that even make any sense? Like, it almost feels like a very unmanly thing to admit. Like, you're not taking any accountability. It seems like the opposite of being like an alpha male. Zero accountability. Oh, it's my dad's fault. Oh, it's my job's fault. It's the community. It's the environment. It's like, huh? Where is the fucking extreme ownership? Where is the personal accountability? Where is the responsibility? Where's the ownership? What the fuck is this?
My model, I always thought I was being a good dad and a good father as long as I was
providing.
As long as I
paying,
had everything.
and I was always paying.
Yeah, you were a provider.
Great house.
Yeah.
You have everything you want.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, that's my job.
Yeah, you're winning. Like that.
Also, with Brian Callen, it's weird too because he got divorced. Like, I think getting divorced would be like the ultimate lesson, right? It's almost like getting fired from a job. You get most reasonable, rational people, when they get fired from a job, that's usually an indication that you did something wrong. Yes, you can have your moment where you might have a week where you're kind of like spitting feathers and blaming the company. But after that week has gone by, you usually look in the mirror and say, you know what? This is my fault. And you try and learn some lessons from what went wrong and try to correct those lessons in the next job that you get. Usually. That's what most of us do. But like, you'd imagine he'd do that too, coming from a divorce. But instead, like, I always thought you could just leave your wife. It's like, huh?
For a long time, like dads now are more, and there's a balance. Like dads are more around more than ever, which it's good and bad.
Yeah, well, but
there needs to be a balance.
I don't know if you can be around a lot when you're trying to be you know, you can later on, but when you're younger.
Yeah, and I understand
No, you
that
can't
too.
when
Like
you're
he was in the
you're
thick of
building?
it. He was building, we were building, you know, but I'm also in the thick of it with being a mom.
Yeah.
With 3
This is why
kids.
people get divorced, but you guys stuck it out,
Give it up. Give it up.
right?
We've had our turbulations.
Yeah.
Who
let me tell
hasn't?
you.
Yeah.
Who the fuck hasn't?
But I feel for us it's been heightened, right? Because everyone, obviously nobody's marriage is perfect. Nobody has this Cinderella story, and if they do, they're lying 100%. But I feel for us it's always been in the public eye, right? Or it's been like
This is why they're perfect for each other. Always been in the public eye. What would you say Brendan is in terms of tier celebrity? Like, not to even be insulting. Not to be insulting. Is Brendan even in like is Brendan even a D-list celebrity? Is he even an E-list celebrity? Like, honestly speaking, he must be like an M on O or P or something. This is not somebody that, like, unless you watch Joe Rogan podcast, unless you're interested in MMA, you probably have no idea who the fuck this guy is. So, and his wife, Joanna, she was, you know, she had a stint at one point where she was a TV presenter, right? For a very short period of time. I think even before they met, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was a TV presenter on like ESPN or whatever before she met Brendan. So it was a very short period of time. So she's not really a public figure. Like, she hasn't really been on a big TV. Obviously, there was some acting thing in the past that was pretty terrible. I think some telenovelas in Mexico, but she's not really well-known person. Like, really and truly. Maybe if you're being, you know, honest, maybe you could say you might have known her slightly because of the baseball players she used to date back in the day. But to suggest that you're like a public famous person to the level that the public would affect your marriage is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. That's a strange thing to try and put on yourself. Oh yeah, we had a public relationship. That's what made it hard. It's like, brother, you're not. No one's following you around. You don't have cameras outside of your house. No one's papping you at fucking baseball games. You know what I mean? No one's asking for your it's not really that deep, you know, to be honest. But again, that's why I think they're perfect for each other.
like somebody always has something to say or an opinion, or so that was hard. It was hard to deal,
Especially for you for a while.
for a while.
For the start, it was hard for her.
Of course. I mean,
Anyway, I'll leave it there. I recommend you check out the whole episode. It's available now on TFATK, you know, Instagram, YouTube. You know where to find it. The Fire and the Kid, episode number 1141, where Slojo, Brendan's wife, has a very rare appearance on TFATK. For me, this is a sign that the podcast is failing. For me, this is a big sign that the podcast is failing. It's not as, you know, maybe as popular as it once was. They're struggling to get guests. I think once you invite your wife on there, it's usually not a good sign. It's usually not a good sign, but I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think it's a good sign that the wife is on there. It kind of shows that they're not really doing that well. But I could be wrong. I could be freaking wrong. Let's move on. Next on the list, we got this news courtesy of fucking TechCrunch. This is awful news, by the way. This is fucking awful news. Regarding TechCrunch, it says Spotify acquires music database WhoSampled. Most of you know, if you're into music, you know what WhoSampled is. WhoSampled's a website. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like volunteer run. It's kind of like Wikipedia, where essentially people gather data and information on songs and who sampled them. So usually it's really cool too, because you'd find out obscure samples of songs based on this website, because people are, you know, crowdsourcing information about where this fucking melody come from, where that bridge come from, where that hook come from, where that fucking hi-hat come from, where this whatever you'd find on WhoSampled it. So it's a really cool resource, but it seems like Spotify have fucking absorbed it. They've acquired it. It looks like they're gonna probably use some of WhoSampled's technology or whatever they have going on to maybe power some of the stuff that they've got when it comes to music ID matching. So I'm wondering if this also may fuck up the sample game anyway, because there's like a little undercover game when it comes to sampling, where if you're a good enough producer and you can chop shit up correctly, you can sometimes get away with using a sample without paying for it. Because usually sometimes to clear a sample, to pay for a sample is a whole strenuous affair. It can delay your project releasing, whatever. So there are some people out there that are super talented when it comes to producing, who can grab a sample, use it effectively for their record, but then also make it not sound like what it was, so no one would actually recognize it, you know? And it'll be detected by those fucking, systems they use to grab it. So it's a really sad affair because most likely it's going to mean the end of all of that shit. But let's read the article courtesy of TechCrunch. It says Spotify has acquired the community-run database tracking sample music WhoSampled. The company announced on Wednesday. The streaming service has also shared the news as part of its Wednesday blog post about new credits features. The deal terms are not disclosed, but Spotify confirmed to TechCrunch the acquisition is both for WhoSampled team and a database. The company had only a handful of employees per data on PitchBook and LinkedIn, which both confirmed around 10 staffers. Fucking sick, by the way. The whole website of fucking WhoSampled was run by 10 people. I love that. Launched in 2008, the London-based... Oh, it's London-based. I didn't know it was from London. That's fucking sick. Big up WhoSampled. London-based WhoSampled offers extensive database of songs, samples, covers, remixes, artists, and more. According to its website, it's now tracking more than 1.2 million songs and nearly 622,000 samples. That data is powering Spotify's latest features, like its up-and-coming music discovery tool, Song DNA. Love to hear it on Wednesday. However, WhoSampled was known to Spotify for some time, as it had partnered with a streamer back in 2016 to allow users to access Spotify playlists. In WhoSampled's announcement about the acquisition, the company said the standalone platform and the brand would remain after the deal's closure, and expected some user-facing improvements as part of its Spotify larger business. For instance, the company said moderation times for submissions would speed up, and the site will be able to remove display ads on the weeks ahead, and its mobile apps will become free downloads with free subscriptions. Through our recent discussion with Spotify, the quote says, it's become clear that we have a strong belief in the power of musical context and the vision for helping listeners to go deeper into songs they love. The post penned by WhoSampled's team. Spotify has shown genuine commitment to our mission, and we couldn't have found a better home for WhoSampled, it stated. So for me personally, I think this is a sad day for all music lovers. I think those of us that are familiar with how tech acquisitions work would know that despite what they're saying about the company remaining standalone and nothing changing, the moment people invest in your company, the moment they put money on the line, they have a say so on what's going to go on. So don't be surprised in fucking 6 months or so if the founders or the OG team completely leave. This is not an acquisition done because they rate the talent at WhoSampled. They rate the product. They're going to siphon the knowledge they can out of the talent and just kind of dash them on the side, and we'll be left with a hollow shell of a website, you know? That's a really sad part about it. But I also get it from WhoSampled's side of things. Most likely to run a site like that, to keep it going, keep the lights on, keep everyone paid, probably not the easiest thing in the world. So the funding, the investment probably came at a great time. It's probably going to guarantee the future of the site forever and ever. It's probably going to change everyone's life in terms of monetary gains and stuff, especially if they've got shares in the company and all this malarkey. So I get it in terms of a monetary thing, but I think for the fans, for the lovers of music, for the artists, for the producers, for the fucking nerds and the geeks out there, this is a fucking sad, sad, sad day. WhoSampled RIP, WhoSampled R.I.P. Moving on, we've got to talk a little bit about Berghain too. Berghain have released, finally, they've released their Silvester Klubnacht, which is their New Year's Eve celebration, or New Year's Day. Berghain, I guess in general, or Berlin in general too, or Berghain in specifically, but I think it's more so a Berlin thing. They tend to celebrate on New Year's Day. You know how most places around the world celebrate the start of the year on New Year's Eve, and that's where you go to party and you do the countdown with that malarkey. I don't know why this is the case. I wish somebody that lives in Berlin that is familiar with that scene would tell me in the comments, but for some reason in Berlin, they like to usually celebrate it on the 1st. I don't really see many. I think there used to be, am I mistaken? Was there a time in the past where Berghain would have, I think there was. I think maybe pre-pandemic. I feel like there was a time where Berghain would have these like 3-day parties that would run from like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day to the 2nd of January. I feel like that was a thing. But I think ever since the pandemic, I don't know what's changed. Maybe it's a change in ownership. It feels like they have prioritized the well-being of the staff members. So for instance, since the pandemic, I think when the pandemic was happening, they changed the closing times. So I think usually Berghain would open on the Friday, close on the Saturday morning, then reopen at Saturday night and open all the way until Monday. Before the pandemic, it would open, I think, until Monday at like 10 a.m. Because I remember going there before the pandemic and it was fucking live to walk out at the club at like 10 in the morning. Fucking gnarly feeling, right? It's one thing going back home when everyone's kind of going to work for their like the early shit at 6 a.m. It's another thing when you're going to work, going back home to your Airbnb and you're seeing people who are going to like regular office jobs, you know, at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. It's fucking wild. But I do remember there was a time where you could stay in Berghain from Saturday night all the way till Monday morning at 10 a.m. When COVID happened and the thing had the restrictions and obviously maybe meetings with the staff members, they reduced the opening times. So now I think, if I'm not mistaken, Berghain, closes on Monday at like 7 or something. It's kind of early. So, but they haven't changed it back again. So I think it might be because, you know, they're trying to look after people's well-being, the staff members that work there, because I'm assuming being a bartender at Berghain probably isn't the easiest job in the world. It's probably very stressful. It's probably a lot of it takes a lot out of you. I'm assuming the shift hours are probably nuts as well. You're probably doing like 10-hour plus shifts, if not longer, maybe 16 or something. So give them a break is a good idea. But but I do like what they do with the New Year's Day. I'm not gonna lie, I do like it because I feel like New Year's Eve is for amateurs. Not gonna lie, I feel like going out on New Year's Eve to celebrate is kind of similar to like going out on the weekends, you know, all the time, or going out on Friday night. I think when you know, back in the day when I used to really, really party, I think the kind of, you know, the unwritten or the best kept secret was to usually rave between Thursday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday. That was a best kept secret that not a lot of people knew. The actual good day to go out would be Wednesday and Thursday, not actually Friday and Saturday, because you avoid all the weekend warriors and all that malarkey. So I don't mind what they're doing now. So they just released their New Year's Day lineup. I'm going to read it to you now. So that's the Silvester Klubnacht, as you see here, January 2026, the 1st of January 2026. So in my favorite room, which is XXX floor, that's the one that legitimately looks like a scene out of some like 2000s cyberpunk, like a 2000s hackery or like late 90s like club scene thing. It's fucking brilliant. It's got these really massive fucking platforms. Like the platforms, if I'm not mistaken, I swear to God, the platforms they got on the XXX floor, they kind of go from the ground all the way to my like head height. And I'm like 6 foot, right? So these plimps or these platforms are massive. And you can kind of jump up on top of them. And then the thing that's the best thing about it, one of the best things is that they have like they have the DJ booth up in like this balcony thing, this mezzanine. So the DJ has to go up these really narrow stairs and they play up on top this like cage at the top. So you're kind of down watching them from this like high place. It's fucking insane. The bar as well looks fucking cool. It's kind of circular. It's one of my favorite rooms. They usually reserve it only for the fucking New Year's Day celebration or when they do their the Pacific Gay Nights. I think it's Snack Club or whatever it's fucking called. But I recommend you go there. XXX floor, fucking fantastic. So in that room, it kind of seems like a repeat of like a Panorama Bar. So it's more housey and disco, which makes more sense. So XXX floor, they've got Bell Towers, Broccoli, Budino, Curses, who I fucking adore, DJ Saburu, Kid Cat, Sound Metaphor DJs, I love that by the way, and the Hacker. The Hacker is what's his fucking name? The guy with Miss Kitten. I forgot what the guy's name is. Please forgive me. But that would be fucking cool to see those play, right? Sound Metaphor DJs, The Hacker and Curses. I would fucking love it. And obviously Budino too. Berghain main room, you got Bestie Hira, you got Jelena, Jury Heidemann, Quartz, LOL Snake again. Like, big up LOL Snake, man. Big up Blood Clot, LOL Snake. Because I feel like she's come out of nowhere, innit? She's come out of nowhere in a way and become like a Berghain regular. But clearly people behind the scenes really must like her. Because she always gets booked. She's like a resident, essentially. She always gets fucking booking. She's always included in the lineups. She's got her own night that she has going on too. I forgot what it's fucking called. Please forgive me. But she's always on the fucking lineups. I don't see lineups where she's not on there. She's probably on there more than a guy like Gerd Jansen and stuff like that, you know? Like, she's always on there. So big up fucking LOL Snake. Absolute legend. She's killed it. And it's also funny because there was a time on the fucking Berghain community subreddit where a lot of those people would be hating on her. A lot of people will be making sure that they kind of let their feelings be known about how much they fucking despise her. but she kind of rid that plane. She kind of did the opposite of what's her fucking name did. Maybe LSD shows not a good example, but she got a lot of hate online. I feel like a lot of people kind of getting tired of her getting booked, maybe not liking her style, but she rid through it. And now she's kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's by force or just because she's good at what she does or whatever. But she's definitely been able to kind of steady that, you know, ride through that storm. And now she gets booked essentially all the time at Berghain. So big up LOL Snake. We love to see it. There's OPH is there as well. Farah, Philippa Pasho, Red Rooms, and Timudu. And then Panorama Bar, you got Andre Galuzzi, Bennett, Fabian Garrido, John Talbot, big up him, legend. Leo Uchi, legend. Ogazon as well, like her. Tom Peters, Vera, and Yang Song. Now, it's not the most barnstorming, crazy lineup in the world, right? It's not going to knock your socks off for big names, but I do like it. It's kind of filled with locals. It's kind of filled with a lot of family and friends. It's filled with people that people would rate, I think, in general, who are kind of really a good fan of. And I think it's one of those lineups where you can walk into it blind and have a good time. I don't think if you walked into XXX floor, you're going to not like who plays. You're going to be okay with anybody that plays in that lineup. You know, without any room, whatever hour you happen to walk in there, you're going to be okay with it. So I am absolutely, ecstatic, over the moon with this lineup. I actually don't mind it. I actually like that they're doing this. I did read on the Berghain community Reddit the other day that somebody did say that, I don't know if this is true, but some new management is taking over in the new year. So maybe we'll see a change in the lineups for like February onwards, maybe. I guess that might be how it works. I don't know. Maybe a little bit later on. But there is talk of like a change in management. Some people are leaving. I know one of the founders that founded Berghain originally has already left back in the day. I think he might have sold his shares or whatever. I'm not really too sure. But it does seem like some things are moving. But I don't mind this lineup. I don't mind this lineup, man. They have to always, essentially, people like myself talk about these lineups. Other people on social media talk about these lineups. They have to kind of hit the ball out of the park all the fucking time. They're one of the most popular clubs in the world. You have to have these lineups planned months in advance, and people are really putting a lot of pressure on you to book the best DJs all the time, and and to really be pushing an envelope and picking their favorite person. So you can never appease everybody. So I do like the fact that they try to, do what they do. And for the most part, I think, I don't know, it's very rarely you see people on the Reddits or whatever complain that it wasn't good, They might not like a certain DJ's crowd, but you rarely hear people say, oh, that night, this particular Klubnacht was terrible. You don't really hear that across the board. There usually is always somebody on that lineup that you're going to be a fan of, that you're going to have a good time listening to, dancing along to. So I love that that's a thing. So big up them, big up Blood Clot them, big up Blood Clot them. Silvester Klubnacht happening on Thursday, the 1st of January, 2026. Love to hear it, love to see it, love to hear it, love to see it. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about the fucking title of the fucking pod. Let's talk a little bit about Cynthia Evero and Arianna Grande. Talk a little bit about Ariana Grande and Cynthia Evero. They've been going through a little bit of like backlash on social media. I personally think a lot of it is like overcooked, a lot of it's overstated, a lot of it's unfair. And I kind of want to speak a little bit about it today, because some of the comments I've been seeing online, I haven't really been liking too tough. I'm not going to lie. I haven't really been liking some of the comments I'm seeing from people complaining about how they are, what they do, and all of that malarkey. I think people need to fucking chill out. They need to fucking give them a break if that's okay. They need to fucking give them a break if that's okay. So this is the video that everyone's talking about, that kind of surmises and gives you an impression on what people are upset about. Some people seem to be upset about the way that they look, because they both have lost a considerable amount of weight. They're very slim, they're very skinny, they're very ripped, whatever you want to say. I guess in Ariana Grande's case, there's a conversation about her skin complexion and shit. And then there's also this thing they have going on where they seem to be very tactile. It seems to be very touchy, very lovey-dovey, very kind of concerned, and very kind of, emotionally kind of connected, with each other throughout their press run for this new movie, Wicked, or whatever it's called. So this is the kind of a compilation that kind of rounds up a lot of what they're doing. And again, forgive me for playing the fucking audio through the laptop speakers, but for some reason, my fucking headphones aren't working on my laptop at this particular moment, so I'm going to play this through the speakers into the microphone. So please forgive me for this. This is a temporary fix, but this is a compilation of the things that people have been complaining about when it comes to Cynthia, Erivo, and Arianna Grande during their wicked press tour.
This is also my first time doing the job.
You are the light of the day. You are such a gift. You brought such light into the room. Thank you very much. We appreciate for coming into this room today.
It's so great. That joy he wanted to be for every frame.
I think we found a little piece of ourselves in each other.
A beautiful sistership that continues to grow and grow even through this press tour. Something's bothering her. She's gonna fix something. I know. She's getting the fixing itch that Cynthia Erivo gets. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because the thing
This pinch me moment for each of you.
Now, don't get me wrong. Is it a little bit weird how they act, how they kind of communicate, the things that they do? Yes, a little bit, a tad, just an inch. But I also think it's kind of, I don't know, it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, they're actors, they're musicians, they're essentially at heart theater kids, right? They are true to the core theater kids, and they've always known to be a little bit cuckoo, a little bit weird, a little bit, you know, once they're on the spectrum, but a little bit, you know, not like every other person that you've met, especially in your 9 to 5. They kind of, I don't know, I kind of want my artist, I kind of want my actors, I kind of want my fucking theater kids, I kind of want my singers, whatever, to be a little bit kooky, you know, because it comes across and it comes out in the music. It's no surprise, in my opinion. I think there's a direct correlation between both of these women being fucking amazing singers, being pretty good when it comes to acting, being pretty good when it just comes to doing what they're doing when they're on stage in general. I don't think it's a surprise. No one's sitting here questioning their talent level. No one's sitting here questioning how they execute on the highest levels. People are just maybe wondering why they seem to be so emotional all the time, why they seem to be all over each other, why they seem to be weirdly somewhat in love with each other, whatever it may be, maybe questioning their weight. And even when it comes to their weight, I think the whole weight conversation is also a little bit unfair because they both work in the entertainment industry. There are a lot of demands, especially on women. I think the demands on women when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to how they look, when it comes to how they present themselves, when it comes to, you know, their weight and shit, is really unfair. You really have to be at the top of your game, essentially, to have a chance at getting anything out of this fucking game. And unfairly, rightly or wrongly, because they are the way they are, that, you know, matched with their talent levels, I'm sure it opens a lot of doors, but there is a minimum requirement like needed for you to take part. You have to look a certain way, you have to be of a certain size. It's just what it is. It's like being a model nowadays. You just can't afford to not have those minimum requirements if you want to play the game, if you want to be involved. So I don't necessarily think it's that big of a deal if like a musician or an artist is like extremely thin. There may be some concern about eating disorders and shit, but I think we've all got some sort of disorder. I think we're all trying to make the best of what we got given. I think we're all trying to figure shit out. Maybe it's not helped with the advent of stuff like Ozempic, right? I'm assuming stuff like that is probably not helping, and it's allowing people to maybe indulge a little bit too much when it comes to rapid weight loss and trying to achieve a certain look, to look a certain way. But again, this all could just be reading too much into it. It could just be two women who are very odd, who are very unique, who are very special, who are very kind of like, you know, peculiar in their own way, suddenly meeting each other. That could be somewhat cathartic, especially in the entertainment industry, where you'd imagine there is a lot of pitting against, especially when it comes to women. For some reason, I don't know why it has happened to men, but I think women get pitted against each other a lot more than men do, especially through their teams, their agents and stuff. Just them as an artist, there's a lot of jealousy or whatever it may be. Sometimes women feel like they can't share the room with other women. So imagine you meet somebody who's as peculiar, as maybe on the spectrum, as maybe odd as you are. It can be somewhat of a enlightening moment. That's what I feel like with them. I feel like when they met each other, they were kind of taken aback by how similar they are, despite them coming from two completely different backgrounds. It was probably a shock. It does happen from time to time. Like, you do have those moments, especially, it doesn't happen a lot when you're an adult. Unfortunately, it's really sad. It doesn't really happen too much when you're an adult. But sometimes when you're a kid, at least, there were those moments where you'd go to another hood, you go to another area, you play a fucking football tournament, you'd be in the fucking church somewhere, you'd be in some random place and you bump into somebody and you just happen to click in a way that you just can't explain. You happen to meet somebody that is essentially like the physical or the personality embodiment of you, but just in another fucking physical body. And it could be really kind of like mind blowing. Like, oh my God, shit. I couldn't believe I would meet somebody that's just as odd as I am. It can be somewhat soothing and cathartic to be like, fuck, finally, I'm not alone. I'm not a freak. I'm not a fucking weirdo. So I think that's what's probably happening with them two. They just finally found each other, found someone, find similar things in each other, and they're not letting go, because especially in adult, in your adult years, adulthood, it's hard to make new friends. So if you do find somebody that you really click with, you're not going to let that motherfucker go. You're going to make sure you keep them by your side. You're going to extend that holiday. You're going to keep pushing back your return date. You're going to stay. It's like a relationship. Like when you meet, it's like when you go on holiday and you fucking fall in love with somebody randomly. You kind of, it's all about them and you don't want to fucking go home because it's such a special kind of moment. So I think the same thing happened with them, just with this like platonic relationship that they're both kind of obviously, professional relationship, whatever else going on. So I don't really think it's as deep as people making it out. I'm not going to lie. I just think they finally found somebody that is as similar as them, and they're just exploring this fucking relationship, whatever it may be. They clearly get on with each other outside of work as well. They seem to hang out with each other a lot. I don't have a problem with it at all. And I think when it comes to the weight thing, again, Ozempic has swept the nation. It's a very easy way to attain a certain look and to lose a lot of weight. People are sometimes abusing it. Like, we abuse all things. Us humans, we're fucking flawed like that. We abuse fucking everything. We abuse fast food. We abuse booze. We abuse everything. So it's no surprise some people are abusing it. Maybe they're abusing it. I don't really know. I don't really have to judge it. I just think these are people operating on the highest levels when it comes to the industry. They're trying their best to kind of keep themselves up there. And I think we also have to be very conscious and very aware of the whole Chadwick Boseman element. Remember when Chadwick Boseman, RIP to him, right? The Black Panther actor, when he was going through his cancer situation, and unfortunately that obviously led to his death. So RIP to him. But when he was going through his situation and his illness, his disease, prior to that, nobody knew he had a cancer diagnosis, and people were commenting a lot on his rapid weight loss. Mostly, I think it came from a level of concern because people saw what he looked like in Black Panther and were kind of impressed and very, big fans of his physical transformation and how muscular he looked on those malarkey. So maybe some people were some sort of disappointment or maybe concern, but there was a lot of comments, a lot of judgment being placed upon his appearance. Even RIP Virgil Abloh before he passed away. When Virgil Abloh was going through chemo and whatever, we didn't know as obviously outside viewers, but now looking back, it was clear he was going through shit. People were also commenting on his appearance. So I think people have to be very cautious of commenting on that sort of stuff because you never know what people are going through. I don't think it's that serious with them. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's that serious with them. But I also think people need to be a little bit more accepting of people who work in an industry that sort of like pushes and kind of like, asks for a certain type of personality. I think people need to kind of remove their regular 9-to-5 glasses and just allow people who work in like, niche industries to act a little bit kooky. I think that's okay. That's a good thing. It's part of the job. I want my actors to be a little bit weird, a little bit wacky. I want my musicians to be a little bit whatever, because it will show in the fucking music, personally speaking. But I could be wrong. I could be freaking wrong. There's also an article regarding its situation here. This is courtesy of the Free Press. This is probably going to be a critical article, but let's read it anyway. It says, in Wicked, there is a very thin elephant in the room. Big up to Cara Kennedy from the Free Press. It says, this week, thousands of little girls across the country will slip into the emerald green or frothy pink dresses and pile into theaters to watch the second installment of Wicked. Their dutiful mothers trailing behind. Oh, so it's a second edition of the movie. When did the first one come out? It feels like the first one just came out the other day. This movie must have made a lot of money because they turned this around quickly, I felt like, innit? I feel like the first Wicked movie must have come out recently because I remember the first press run that everyone was talking about. Whenever this movie is fucking box office, by the way, it clearly makes a lot of money. And whenever these girls go on their press run, it generates a lot of clicks. Everyone's always mentioning how they talk. You know what I mean? I think they've cancelled the press run now. I think after the Ariana Grande got accosted by that guy when they went to Asia somewhere, right? That guy that kind of jumps everybody. But this movie must do well in the box office for sure. Anyway, it continues. My own daughter isn't old enough to see it, but if she were, I'd feel torn, because delightful as the movie looks, the characters whose shoes so many girls would slip into, the prettiest, sweetest goddess witch in Oz has a waist roughly the diameter of a drinking straw. Honestly, people are so mean, innit? Like, ay. Let's continue. Ariana Grande was utterly fantastic as Glinda, in the first Wicked film, shot at the same time as the second one, but released later last year. Oh, that's why they turned around so quickly. The first and second movie were shot at the same time, but just released separately. That's actually a really smart idea, to be honest. They must have knew that it was going to be a fucking smash. But she appears delicate, it says here, so gaunt, it's impossible not to feel uneasy. It's not that bad though, man. Maybe it's because I see a lot of like ED stuff on Twitter. I see a lot of like, eating disorder content on Twitter because there's a big community of people on there. I feel like all the girls that were on Tumblr sharing a lot of ED content are now on Twitter. And there's clearly an ED community when it comes to men's fitness and stuff. When it comes to intermittent fasting and whatever else it may be, there's a lot of that going on at the moment. So I guess I'm not too unaware of it, but they don't even look that crazy. I've seen far worse. I've seen more extreme versions of it, by the way. But hey, what do I know? Every time she does one of those Gilda signature 12s, you half worry she might snap in half. But it's even harder to see her now. A few years on, as she jets about on the press tour for Wicked for Good, her collarbones protrude, her size 0 dress sags. You can count her ribs. Cynthia Verio, who plays Elphaba has also dropped a dramatic amount of weight since she began filming. I think it's harder to pin the whole ED thing on Cynthia Erivo because I think she clearly looks like she does Pilates or something or yoga, because she's very ripped. Yeah, she's very skinny, but her arms are crazy, chest is crazy, abs are clearly like she looks like she works out. Like that lady looks like she's ripped as fuck. So I think if you was to grab, in a very violent way, Cynthia Erivo in real life, I think if you was to touch her shoulder, touch her bicep, I think it would feel like coiled fucking steel. She looks ripped as hell. So maybe Ariana Grande maybe is going through it. I don't know, but I think again, there's too much onus put on these type of things when really it could just be two actresses trying their best to make sure they get booked and busy. Trying to make sure they're booked and busy. And by being booked and busy, you have to be a certain size and whatever. They're trying to maintain it. There might be some competitive ED stuff going on there because they're so close. That can also happen. I don't know. But I don't think it's as bad people's making it out to be. It continues. Parents live in a permanent state of anxiety over what to expose their children to, what feels harmless, what feels risky, what cultural messages they can be allowed to absorb, which heroines are worth admiring, and fear often drives cultural debates. One of the many random offshoots of the hashtag #MeToo movement was a concerted campaign against animated princesses who the cultural establishment formally decided were not just outdated but actively harmful because they encourage our daughters to idolize impossible thinness. Is that true? Yo, we were down bad, didn't we? We were living in rough times back in the day. We cancelled Disney princesses because they were too skinny. But aren't they cartoons? Isn't that animation? Isn't that a drawing? You're taking fucking beauty standards and like from a fucking cartoon. Like what? Honestly, they banned Disney princess because they're like, excuse me. So can't you just draw some fat ones? Why would you ban the skinny ones? Just draw some fat ones or draw some ones that are maybe curvy or whatever. Why would you just ban the fat? Like, oh my God, what a weird society we had back in the day, man. Anyway, it continues. In 2017, The Guardian declared it's official. Disney princesses reinforce limiting gender stereotypes. God, like it's a cartoon. You could shouldn't the idea behind cartoons and animation be that they don't require as much effort or as much work, or they're not as hard to kind of complete as maybe a movie is, live action movie. So technically, if you're not feeling like you're getting a representation you want, you can literally create your own thing. You can literally create whatever you want to create to kind of get the message you want to get across. You don't have to force the movies that are currently there to kind of acquiesce to your worldview. You can just make new ones. You know, if you feel like maybe the Disney cartoons are too thin and too white, you can just draw or invent new stories and have them be more representative of the current times or stuff that you want to see, stories you want to tell, blah, 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 blah. It really shouldn't be that difficult. But hey, what do I know? It continues. Its official Disney princesses reinforce limiting gender stereotypes, citing research that claimed that characters contributed to body esteem issues in young girls. Tiny waists, shimmering gowns were not innocent fantasies, but a public health hazard. This was the progressive line. So I guess maybe this is just a woman thing I don't really understand, but it is kind of concerning that there are women out there that felt pressured about being thin because of a cartoon. Like, that's heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie. That's fucking heartbreaking. It continues. To mitigate this, Disney princesses filled out. We widened their hips, thickened their wrist, and wrote them boss bitch monologue, about the patriarchy. Mona was designed with an athletic build and sturdy legs, a body made from voyaging rather than fainting. In Raya and The Last Dragon, the female hero was given visible biceps and a fighter stance. Even Minnie Mouse traded in her mini dress for a progressive pantsuit. So what are we to do with this flesh and blood Glinda, who looks even more fragile than her ink paint predecessors, and Elphaba, who's shrinking with every paparazzi shot? The rule is don't comment, don't question. I don't think it's don't comment. The rule should be just be kind, innit? Like, don't always go for the worst possible conclusion. Give people the benefit of the doubt. It could just be harmless. It could just be two people just, you know, pushing each other to be thin because they're actors and whatever. They work in industry where image and body stuff are quite important. It could just be happenstance, whatever. Just let's not be, you know, out of the gate mean. Let's maybe consider people's feelings. But I guess nowadays doing that, you kind of sound like you're cucked. You kind of sound like, you know what I mean? You can't say that. You kind of have to always just say what you want to say, as harsh as you want to say it. And if someone cries or gets upset, hell be, you know, so be it, which is not fair. But hey, it continues. Since the release of the first film, Grande hasn't explicitly addressed any of the concerns, which he shouldn't, by the way. It's none of one's business. I'm a big believer. Like, I don't think I'm going to play something or talk about something when it comes to Adam Port. I think it's really important if you're a notable figure. Like, you have to draw a line somewhere when it comes to the stuff that you talk about. You have to maybe be private with your relationships, maybe with your kids, maybe with your family overall. Maybe you don't want to talk about certain things when it comes to your health. You have to be a line that you're not willing to cross and things that you're willing to keep close to your chest as an artist or as a public figure. And I think one of them should be your health. One of them should be your lifestyle, whatever. You shouldn't answer any questions like, I mean, it's no one's business, really and truly. Since the first release of the film, Grande hasn't explicitly addressed any of the concerns, but last December when an interviewer asked her how she deals with the pressure of looking perfect, she welled up and said, "I've heard every version of what's wrong with me," she says, before saying she thinks it's dangerous to live in a society where if you go to Thanksgiving dinner and someone's granny says, "Oh my God, you look skinnier," what happened? No one has the right to say that, she said. And that's true, by the way. That's true. I know that to be an issue with women in general. I do remember a friend of a friend who's from Brazil telling me once that was one of the pressures that she discovered or she kind of received growing up in Brazil, where whenever she would go to like her auntie's house or family's house, whatever, or aunties would come over, the first thing all the aunties and whatever, you know, women relatives would comment on was each other's weight, especially when it comes to the kids. The first comment, like as soon as you walk into the kitchen, walk into the living room, wherever they are, and they're all talking, having kind of women chat, the first thing they will comment on was like, "Oh my God, look at you, look how skinny you are, look how," I mean, so there was this constant pressure behind your head to kind of make sure you were of a certain size, so your auntie didn't fucking rip into you, your manager didn't fucking go crazy on you. I mean, it's just weird, really and truly. But hey, what can you do? It continues, says, when Grande did address fans' concerns about her health via a TikTok video in 2023, she claimed that those who point out old pictures of her looking healthier are in fact idolizing the unhealthiest version of my body, she said. There was a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them. Yeah, that's hilarious, by the way. I'm actually healthier now. It's like, okay, cool, I guess, cool. She then asked for universal silence on the subject, saying we should all be less comfortable commenting on people's bodies, health, unhealthily, big, small, this or that. That is true, but unfortunately social media doesn't work that way. I think in general, people should maybe leave people alone, especially when it comes to their appearance, because you just never know what people are going through. You know, you never fucking know. People, for the most part, you know, keep themselves to themselves, head under water and stuff, all that malarkey. So you don't really know what people are going through. You really fucking don't know what people are going through. Grande's comments have been met with overwhelming support from the same progressive media that once complained, it says here, about Disney's tiny princesses. Ariana Grande does not owe the internet any explanation for her weight loss. One headline scolded, another praised her for addressing body shaming and critics in her heartbreaking TikTok. The public has been instructed, stand down. We look on as she wastes away, our tongues tied, and Ariana taking no further questions this time. I don't know what they want, man. I don't know what they want. You're not entitled to somebody's response or to explanation when it comes to these things. You can read into what you want to read into, but you're not honestly deserving of that. I don't think you are. So this is fucking dumb, but hey, let's continue. And maybe silence is her prerogative. It says maybe it's the upsetting of strangers to ask based on your appearance. If you're okay, I guess it would be nice for famous people if they didn't have opinions of their bodies. But we do. We always will. And again, this comes from a woman, by the way. This is like the sad thing about this article is that it comes from another woman. There's not a lot of grace. There's not a lot of like love. There's not a lot of sensitivity. There's not a lot of whatever come across here from a fellow woman. That's a really sad bit. Like, she's not even trying to like understand where they're coming from. She's just kind of ripping into them, saying, but we do always and we always will. Their bodies often are part of the reason they're famous, and it feels bizarre that viewers who flock to the theaters to feast on their eyes and spectacle should be told not to comment on what they see. Yeah, well, you can comment on it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think you should be entitled to a response. It kind of feels like he wants both. He kind of wants to be able to say what he wants to say to these people in private, but then also he wants to be dignified with a response, proper ones. I don't think he should. I'm not gonna lie, man. Don't think he should be all about. But anyway, it says, especially because a lot of people commenting on her appearance aren't doing it because they hate her. They're doing it because they love her. At least they love the work. Especially because we're not talking about a few pounds lost to squeeze into a dress or a premiere. As one op-ed began, commenting on other people's bodies is extremely rude, but I've found that the photos and videos coming from Wicked promotional tales so concerning, and silence would be on balance worse. Again, it's not that concerning. Like, Ariana Grande has always been a very, I would say, slim, very kind of skinny girl anyway. Cynthia Erivo, same thing. It's a bit more, I guess extreme quote unquote looking, but it could just be like an upping of the miles, an upping of the fucking weekly mileages, maybe an increasing of the fucking exercises during the evening. I don't know. It's not that deep. The caveat is revealing. It says it wasn't so long ago that the body positivity movement, which insisted women can be healthy at any size, decreed that all comments on women's bodies are harmful. Both Grande and her defenders use language from the playbook. As Grande said in her TikTok, one paper complained, there are many difficult ways to look healthy. To look healthy and beautiful. Yeah, I guess there are. Sorry there. It continues that this is exactly the same vocabulary that once protected 300-pound cover models from the mildest health questions. If you said Tess Daly was dangerous, overweight, and height. Again, I think the entitlement is fucking crazy. The entitlement, like, I'm almost getting to a point where I think you can ask a question. I don't have to give you an answer. That's what I'm thinking. And they're not promoting anything. It's not as if they're both selling, Ozempic. It's not as if they're both selling weight loss stuff. They're not really going gym like that. It's just like, they're not like paying for people to be there. It's just a random, I don't know. I just find it's all a bit weird, personally. I just find all of this a bit weird and a bit peculiar. I just find it all a bit weird and fucking peculiar. But big up this article. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. You can check it out. It's available now in the free press. It says, in Wicked, there's a very thin elephant in the room. There's a very thin elephant in the room. Actually, let me read the last paragraph. Let's see if I should round it up. What's the last paragraph? In the end, the question isn't whether Grande is too thin. It's whether she will one day, like China, admit that the body she insisted was beautiful wasn't actually healthy. For now, we're not allowed to talk about standing in front of us, a gorgeously clad frame that millions of girls have walked the red carpet on TikTok this week, even as their mothers who came of age in the era of heroin chic models get a very sense of deja vu. So if anything, I think what they've done really well, again, I don't really comment on it and stuff, it doesn't really affect what they're doing, but I do think, weirdly enough, mentioning this Meghan Trainor girl, I have read an interview, seen her comment and basically I guess answer questions. Big up Meghan Trainor. She did respond to a few people who kind of questioned her weight loss, and basically tried to ask her like, hey, at one point you were happy being your weight, and now you're talking about, now you look the way you look. Obviously she's lost a massive amount of weight, maybe over 100 pounds. I think Meghan Trainor gave a good example, gave a good explanation, basically saying, yeah, when I made that song, I was 19 years of age, my worldview was different. And I think she even said when she had kids, that was a real wake up call, because she got told by her doctors that she was like diabetic and stuff, and she needs to get healthy. So, again, people get there slowly, they get there in their own way, but she got there eventually. So I think all of these things are sometimes over egged. You can ask a question, you can be concerned, but you're not entitled to an answer. That's what I personally think when it comes to people's bodies and stuff. You are not entitled an answer. Moving on. Do you guys remember this DoorDash girl? She's in trouble, bro. Do you guys remember this DoorDash girl in America? So if you don't know, there was this story, right, about this DoorDash girl, DoorDash delivery driver, who decided to record her customer. So the story goes that the customer ordered something. He wrote down in the instructions for the delivery that he wanted his stuff to be left outside of his door. But then when he made the order, and by the time she came around, he fell asleep on the couch. He fell asleep on the couch with his trousers net by his knees or ankles, his hand covering his junk, or maybe his hand in his boxers, with the door slightly ajar of his fucking apartment. And obviously he was sleeping in the fucking front room, I guess. So the garden, maybe the front room door's open, but regardless, he gets inside. She gets inside for some reason of the guy's crib. She records a video of the guy lying on his couch, covering his junk, and then she leaves the food outside. She then decides to go on social media and cry and complain that that guy had sexually abused her, that she had been assaulted, that it was like a form of rape or something. And obviously when this story broke on social the first time, a lot of us that are like, have wisdom, a lot of us that kind of read these things deeply, we're probably talking to her thinking, hold on, where is the abuse? When no one could spot it, whether it was fucking a micro abuse or whatever, or it was fucking outright, no one could really spot what abuse she went through. And then I guess now the story is kind of progressed, and now we've learned via this article that this DoorDash girl has now been charged and arrested for essentially the crime that she did of like recording this man, sleeping in his house with the door slightly ajar. It's like, what I mean? It's like he's got arrested for that as well, which is, I guess, justice in itself. But I think this girl in general overcooked. She overcooked. I think she overcooked the allegation. I don't know why specifically. I do get how uncomfortable it could be as a woman delivering food, and you go to deliver it to someone's house and his door slightly ajar and he's lying there with his hands on his junk. But she tried to make it more than what it was, ended up getting called out for it and cut, and now her future's looking unlikely over there. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of wild. Let's read the article courtesy of Daily Mail. It says female DoorDash driver is arrested for filming an unconscious nude customer and claiming he assaulted her. Female DoorDash driver has been arrested in New York. Olivia Henderson, 23. She's a baby, bro. Imagine doing this at 23. What is wrong with you? Olivia Henderson, 23, was taken into custody on November 10th after reporting she was sexually assaulted by an unknown customer while dropping off an order on October 12th at home in Oswego, 45 minutes from Syracuse. According to Henderson, who has documented the alleged incident in several TikTok videos where she arrived at the man's home that day, for first front door was wide open, he was indecently exposed, it says. She further stated that the customer was sleeping on a couch within eyesight of the front door, with their pants and underwear pulled down to their ankles. Again, don't get me wrong, that all sounds a bit weird, Like, that all sounds a bit, a bit voyeuristic, a bit strange, that you would order something to eat, and then before the person comes, you would fucking stroke out a quick one, but then fall asleep midway through. It's like, I don't know, it sounds a bit odd. It sounds a bit odd, but I could be wrong. The young woman was recorded the video naked man and posted on social media. On the morning of the 13th, Henderson reported that she was sexually assaulted after the alleged incident. according to again, the trail is fucking interesting because if I'm not mistaken, he was told by whoever the place that I don't know. I think they were told before then, if I'm not mistaken. I think, if I'm not mistaken. But when authorities investigated the claim, they found that no evidence of sexual assault was against her. Officers also reviewed the footage that she took of the customer who appeared incapacitated and unconscious on his couch from alcohol consumption and determined a clip was taken out of the exterior of his home. The police said, yeah, he made a mistake. She made a big mistake recording him and then posting his picture out of that. You know what I mean? That's like, bro, you want to, you know, he really does want to get whatever, but hey. Officers also reviewed the footage. That's the I won't say crazy, but that's the lady. That's the young lady there, Olivia Henderson. And it says, prior to the arrest, Henderson also posted on October 26 about the alleged incident, repeatedly claiming that she was the victim. Quote, I was assaulted. I'm the victim. I lost my job. I'm the victim, right? Is this making sense to any fucking body? She said in a clip posted on October 15th. Henderson said she and the customer had ever since been banned from the food delivery app. They didn't even provide my number for any deactivation. They're supposed to send an email. They didn't. She said, again, this guy sounds, I don't know if I'm my gosh, this guy sounds even slow the way he reads. Let someone like that essentially gather your girl's attention is kind of insane. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pissed. I'd be fucking pissed. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? They didn't even provide me a reason for deactivation. They're supposed to send me an email, the girl says. DoorDash has deactivated me. DoorDash punished me for exposing my assaulter. And TikTok is currently pushing me from exposing my storyline. Henderson continued, referring to the TikTok trend. The TikTok is silencing my story. The clip, which is resurfaced on other social media sites, including showing a man hoodie over his head as he lay down on the couch. What else is going on there? The door of the home was left open, and the hand as he had. The door of the home was left open as he had one arm behind his head and the other one near the door, near the nude lower part of his body. Don't get me wrong, he was on freak time. Let's call a spade a spade. That guy was on freak ball time. Let's call a spade a spade. It obviously, you know, panned out for him. But I think he was on freak ball time. I just don't think that girl needs to lie, you know? It's a bit scary when you see IRL, yeah, man walking down the street with his earflaps on and one of those coats. But still, I think he should have kind of, you know, chilled out a little bit with the fucking high hat and all that shit. So, ain't that deep, bro. It really isn't that deep. No one should ever have to experience sexual assault. It says here harassment or even bullying. Conversations never have ever returned. You get me? So let's see how it goes for blood clot him. Let's see how it goes for them. Let's continue here. Let's continue. This article, courtesy of Guardian, is pretty fucking gnarly. It says plastic surgeons wrestle with requests for a Mar-a-Lago face. You're going to look like Maleficent. I'm not even sure why this is a thing. I'm not sure why you'd want to look like a woman that, you know, might attend events or is a member of Mar-a-Lago. It seems fucking unreal. But allegedly this is one of the fucking, I guess, templates, one of the themes, one of the metas and shit. So if you read the article close to the Guardian, it says, picture a plastic surgeon's office. You might imagine a sleek Los Angeles practice with discreet entrances meant to conceal celebrities from the paparazzi. Maybe a Dallas high-rise where moneyed housewives spend their postpartum money makeovers, or a Miami location where influencers and OnlyFans girls start to film. The TikToks or the BBL. One city you might have to not work. You might have to not think of Washington D.C., but this is buttoned up reputation. So it's kind of difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of difficult. It continues. It says much has been made of the so-called Mar-a-Lago face, or the uncannily smooth, artificially voluminous features seen in the likes of MAGA elite, Christy Naomi, Kimberly Quelfoley, Laura Loomer, and Matt Gaetz. Imagine referring to fucking Laura Loomer as fucking being uncannily smooth and having artificial voluminous features. Like, I don't know about Laura Loomer though. The bee sting puffy lips, the frozen brows, the taunt necks have been compared to the Real Housewives stars and DV Paris demons, and ironically, considering the Republican Party's anti-LGBTQ culture war, the drag queens, minus the fucking queens, have been involved. But yeah, what do you know? As of January, plastic surgeons in Washington, D.C. have been seen a surge in Mexico City. That's Mexico City, right? No, I don't have any. Cool. It continues. Axios attributed the aesthetic shift to the influx of transplants from South Florida. Really? Implants, they have to blame for this. Huh. Let's see what it says here. What are you gonna say here? 5, come on. Give us something, give us something. It says, influx of the other theories going through these procedures is calculated act of political difference to Trump's preferred unnatural beauty standards. Dr. Anita Kulkarni is a plastic surgeon and surgeon who said that we the neighborhood. What else is going on here? Everyone's kind of getting together. Kind of love to see it, honestly. You kind of love to see all that shit. She says nobody comes in asking for a Mar-a-Lago face anymore by name. The most obvious clue is when a patient with visible lip filler comes in wanting more, and you have to say, I cannot put any more in there for safety. Jesus Christ. Surgeons are having to turn away women from getting too much lip filler. I wonder how they even judge how much is too much. Is it a visual thing? They judge visually, like, oh my god, your lips look like they're gonna fall off. Is there a certain like PSI? Do fucking lip fillers have certain level of PSI? You know, like on a bike, it must be like 80% or 70, 90, whatever. I wonder if that's the same thing when it comes to women's lips. Is there a certain PSI you can't pass? It says, to my eye, if I put any more up in there, you're going to cross over from looking like a best version of yourself to looking like Maleficent. I have to say no in a way that I have never seen before, and still patients will try to talk their way into more. Wow, that's like being a drug addict, isn't it? It's like going to a crack dealer, like, have to get to him. Okay, cool, thank you so much. Like, let's all calm down if possible, you know. My aesthetic continues here. Says my aesthetic doesn't necessarily have to be aesthetic for me to give you what you want, but when you go outside the range of what normal human face looks like, that's not a place I'm willing to go. More still might shrug their shoulders and say Mar-a-Lago face is part of society's wider embrace of body contouring. That could be true. Kris Jenner's ageless 70th birthday facelift may look less garish than Laura Loomer's balloonish attributes, but both are just as fake. It comes at a time when the American Society of Plastic Surgeons reports that there were more than 28.5 million minimally invasive procedures done in 2024. 28.5 mil, Jesus. Lip augmentation, dermal fillers, and neuromodulator treatments such as Botox. Is that what it's called? Botox is a neuromodulator. I don't know that. Neuromodulator treatments such as Botox cracked the top 5. God almighty. God, it never ends with your woman, innit? It never ends. But those pictures of Kim Kardashian's mom, Kris Jenner, at her party, and she's meant to be 70 and stuff, and people are saying nowadays because she got bullied so much because of her hands that she's purposely not wearing stuff like that shows her hands and stuff because her hands were looking kind of crazy. So again, I wonder if that's also a fault of fucking, you know, BGL. Is that another fault of it? I don't really know. I wonder if that's a flipping fault. Oh my god, let's continue. It says here, Dr. Pittman, a plastic surgeon based in DC, says that across the country, people are more willing to talk about the work they have done. I don't think that's true. Most people still hide, which is, you know, real prerogative, but I don't think people are as open as they think. Look at A$AP Rocky. He's only recently announced that he's got a fragrance coming through. So we saw that coming a mile off, man. Come on, mate. Maybe some clothes too, but what are we gonna say here? That's not a bad thing. It continues, says, but in my town in DC, there is a glamming up of Washington with this new administration, so it's becoming more prevalent. They're okay with looking to enhance. So what? Are people trying to suggest that because Trump's in power and he likes his women to look a certain way, that some of the women are now deciding to put more effort, present themselves in a great way, so that Tom could say, yeah, that woman could sing. That guy's a serious guy. I wonder if they're using that on purpose to do that. Great way to think. I don't know. It's fucking hilarious. Dr. Kelly Bolden is also a DC-based plastic surgeon. Most of her clients are people of color. Love to see it. She's also a medical director of the Caltarian. Sorry. What else is getting on here? A practice that specializes in cosmetic treatments for deeper skin tones. So basically niggas, right? A procedure that specializes in helping guys with deeper skin tones. Like, bro, it's obviously the niggas. Obviously only the niggas need this, right? No one else wants to be hanged. Everyone ran away. But for us, it's like muscle memory, isn't it? For us out there, it's like muscle memory. Like, hey, wear this. Like, oh, you know, it's like muscle fucking memory. Let's quickly do this then. If I continue. Okie dokie. It continues, says they come in and actually tell me that they like the artificial look. Yeah, you get that a lot now. I think you've seen that on. I think I've seen that more with stuff like Love Island and all those other reality TV shows. You are seeing more and more people who clearly look like you might think they're botched, but they kind of enjoy that botched look. They kind of want to look a bit ridiculous, you know, which I also kind of rate. And then getting it back again, like what the fuck? I don't rate that. Oh, it looks like you chocolate to that or something. It always looks like that. But hey. Oh, it continues. It says, for those who want a Mar-a-Lago face, you have to be able to handle the needles. Bolden says it's most often achieved via shots and injectables underneath the skin. It's also overdone filler and Botox that gives them the mask face type appearance. This is not a look that Bolden is known for. Sometimes she outright denies these requests, or she'll compromise and say, usually I look at them and say, let's balance you out, let's make it more even. I think it kind of reminds me a little bit of like hairdressers. I think it kind of reminds you of that consultation you get when you go to a salon. A woman will come in with a particular picture of a celebrity and just say, hairstylist, make me look like this person. And then you as a proper good hairstylist, you have to meet the person where they're at and slowly but surely convince them that maybe trying to look like somebody else isn't a good idea and why it won't work and why they should maybe focus on trying to get themselves patterned, you know? That's what people usually would do. But again, nowadays it's hard to kind of push that message out there. After the Duchess of Sussex announced her engagement, Prince of Harry, 2017, Pittman said women would bring in photos of Meghan for appointments and ask for her nose. Jesus Christ. That's a trap, Pittman says. We're not trying to make people look like clones to each other. We would similarly talk down to people who thought we were doing so. I don't even know why that's fun. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know why that's fun. It's so fucking random. Anyway, big up the Mar-a-Lago procedures. Big up the ladies out there that are still pushing it, still going for it, still trying to achieve a certain look. It's fucking freaky that someone would look like Laura Loomer and all those girls over there. This particular lady, her name is Kimberly. Was it Guilfoyle? I don't know. I think it's kind of odd, and I also think it's kind of odd too the way Christiana looked. You know, about the same age as Kim. I don't know. I'm for sure women have an equivalent, but there needs to be a conversation around like, you know, some women's inability to just like stop looking hot. You know, just like just letting go of that idea that you're always fucking a baddie. You don't have to be one until your old age. You can still just retire and kind of, you know, have other things prioritize your time and your attention. But he tries to pick all that stuff in and stuff, and obviously you can imagine how crazy it would get. But I just do love the fact that, you know, there is this suggestion out there that all these faces are somehow the premier beauty standards when they're not. You know, they're obviously not the premier beauty standards. They're obviously not the premier beauty standards. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Talk about not knowing anything. This headline from the fucking Huffington Post is pretty depressing. It says White House intervened on behalf of accused sex trafficker Andrew Tate during a federal investigation. Did you hear that? The White House intervened on behalf of accused sex trafficker Andrew Tate during a federal investigation. Like, what? The article is fucking gnarly. It says online influencer Andrew Tate, self-described misogynist who has millions of young male followers, was facing allegations of sex trafficking women in 3 countries when he and his stepbrother left their home in Romania to visit America. That was a recent tour, by the way, that they went on, right? That they come to the US to do. The Tates will be free. Trump is president. The good days are coming back. Tate posted on X before the trip on February. One of many times he was being sued in the president's praises to the fans. But when the Tate brothers arrived at the private plane at Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they immediately found themselves in the crosshairs of law enforcement once more, as Customs and Border Protection officers seized their electronic devices. This time they had a powerful ally come to their aid. Behind the scenes, the White House, the White House advisor, behind the freaking scene and shit. What's I gonna say? White House advisor, cool, absolutely insane. This time they had a powerful message ally come from them. Behind the scenes, the White House also intervened on their behalf. However, the records reviewed by the ProPublica show a White House official told senior Department of Homeland Security officials to return the devices to the brothers early days after they had been seized. Jesus Christ. It's crazy the things you can get. I'm not gonna say anything. That's a really nice share. Come on now, you pieces of crap. Let's continue. In this written request, a copy of which has been reviewed by ProPublica, Ingracia chided or cited authorities for taking action, saying that the seizure of the Tate's devices was not a good use of time or resources. I love when they do that, but that's another really interesting form of gaslighting. She doing something more powerful or what's the thing called handy. So it's like, shut up, man, shut up. What else has it got? What else does it have? I don't really know, to be fair. Can't think of anything. Yeah, unfortunately. It continues. The incident is the latest in the sting of law enforcement's matters where the Trump White House has inserted itself to help friends of and targeted foes. Since entering office in second term, Trump has urged the Justice Department to go after elected officials, investigate and phone politicians, and Cuomo. The list goes on and the list goes on and on and on and on. Ingracia intervention on behalf of Tate and his brothers Tristan caused alarm among DHS officials that they could be interfering with a local investigation collected through the phone. Oh, I don't know what people do, honestly. I don't even understand why people even decide to still wear this. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking insane when it comes to that sort of face mask shit. But hey, what do I know? Continue. One official was also involved and spoke of the condition of the anonymity to avoid facing retribution, and said that they'll discuss it by the request of the brazenness and the high-handed expectation of complicity. He said it was so offensive, so that we were all here to do is to uphold the law and protect the American people. We don't want to be seen as handing favors. But again, he must have friends in powerful places if he's running that play. Honestly, the Tates must have friends in powerful places where they're able to run that play of like, because a lot of people came to the UK, a lot of people were here when he was here, and he didn't get that Christmas fucking welcome, you know? He didn't get the same one that I did, honestly. That's kind of unfair, not gonna lie. I did not get the same one, but hey. It's unclear why law enforcement wanted to be examine the devices, it says. Their analysis found or whether Ingracia intervention hindered their investigation. The White House and Justice Department declined to answer. But law enforcement experts said that it's highly unusual for the White House to get involved. I've never heard of anything like this in my 30 years of working, said John F. Tabon. I've retired assistant director of Homeland Security Investigations, says John Tobon, which is typically analyzes the contents of the electronic devices. For anyone to say this request from the White House, it feels like an immediate intimidation tactic. Yeah, they got arrested, their phones got taken by the police, and the White House got their phones back given to them, and obviously told them to kind of lay off and let them be. Kind of wild, isn't it? It's almost like the White House coordinated or made an effort to make sure the Tate brothers could go to America and get their content in. It almost feels like that way, right? They kind of made a special arrangements to make sure that they were able to come in without issue, perform, make money, and go back without any issue. Oof. Sounds fucking wild that the Tate brothers have that kind of pull in the White House. Honestly, it's pretty fucking insane. Samuel Ball of Duke University law professor and former federal prosecutor called the pressure to, on behalf of the Tates, another data point. This is not something that would have been viewed as appropriate or acceptable behavior in 2025. There is a pattern here of severe departure from pre-existing norms and being tossed aside left and right. I guess one of the other concerning things, if you're a MAGA person, you also have to be concerned with what looks like a pattern when it comes to Trump and his pardonings, when it comes to his administrations and getting involved. It seems like they really have a bit of a boner, for lack of a better term. They really have a interest in making sure they get alleged sex pests, deviants, harassers, R-worders, you know, off their charges or whatever else, and just helping them out in general. It does seem like there is like, you know, a few people out there who can maybe attest to, you know, getting down with someone for a bit of handy. I don't know. I just see it happening, but I don't know if I'm true yet. But hey, here it is. Let's continue. It says the Tate brothers' lawyer, Joseph McBride, said he didn't know what happened to the devices, but that his clients still not had them returned. He said it's unclear whether the investigation into the contents is continuing. So they didn't get it. Again, who knows what who's telling the truth, yeah? His client said his clients he said are innocent and there was no illicit materials on the electronics. There have been multiple investigations against them and nothing has come of it. That's an odd defense though, I think, isn't it? No? That's an odd defense, isn't it? Don't you think it's an odd defense? Oh, they've been investigated tons of time, nothing has come of it. Instead of just saying my clients are innocent, they didn't do this crime and we're gonna, you know, we're looking forward to our day in court to prove ourselves. It's like, oh yeah, look at the times I got arrested. I didn't get found guilty. I wasn't it's like, what? Ingracia worked at McBride's firm before joining the White House, and McBride acknowledged speaking to Paul from time to time, but couldn't recall discussing the seized devices with him. The White House declined to answer questions, which makes sense, which makes absolute fucking sense. The White House would decline to answer questions, but that's the entire article. Not going to read the whole thing. You can check out yourself. It's pretty lengthy, but it does detail how the White House administration stepped in to ensure that the fucking Tates got their devices back when they came to the US, or just to make sure that they weren't bothered and they weren't harassed as much as they probably should have or would have if the White House didn't have them on their backs. Fucking wild. Absolutely wild. And it's also maybe a wake-up call, I think, as well. People on the right-hand side, because if there does happen in the next election that somebody from the Democrat side wins, they're going to revert. Whatever stuff is happening now in the States under the Trump administration, they're going to reverse it, you know, when they come into power. So it'll be cool if a lot of people are more aware and prepared for that, you know, because I feel like it's going to divide people way worse when that time happens, like someone comes in, because they're going to definitely piss off a lot of like Antifa, all these people, you know. So it's going to be a fucking scary moment. Very, very scary moment. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? Absolutely nada. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Yo, big up Blood Clot Adam Port. Big up Blood Clot Adam Port. First of all, I hope he's on the mend and getting well. But Adam Port reported a week ago, which I completely missed, by the way. Big up Blood Clot Adam Port reported a week ago that he had some sort of medical emergency. Now, I'm a little bit perturbed by this, right? I'll read the caption, but I'm a little bit miffed about this. But I'll read what he wrote. Big up Adam Port, 1/3 of Kinda Music. He said, bonjour, hola, hello. I've been a bit quiet since Cyprus. The day after the show, my balance system on the right side suddenly stopped working, and I spent a few days in hospital to recover. I needed some time offline to reset body, mind. No phone policy test number 1, Cyprus. It didn't go exactly as planned, but we learned a lot and we will keep improving. Please be patient with us. It will take a bit of time, but I'm sure it will make the experience better for you and for us. Writing this from Paris while waiting for my flight from Buenos Aires, where we play with Kinda Music. It feels good to see my friends. So it seems like he had some sort of medical emergency where, like you mentioned, the right hand side of his body kind of fell, lost balance, lost feeling, had to rest up. Now, the issue I kind of have with this is that he probably knows what happened, innit? Obviously, the diagnosis or whatever, the cause, whatever, or have a fucking term, I don't know, medical terms, please forgive me. But whatever happened to him, the balance thing, he probably spent some time in hospital and was told what exactly went wrong with him. I think that's what happens, right? When you go to hospital, you might faint and whatever, but after some scans, you'll be told exactly why you fainted, exactly why you had an issue with your equilibrium, with your balance, exactly why you were bleeding from your nose. So I do find it odd when people share this sort of like medical updates on social, but they don't really tell you what happened. It's like, if you're going to share it, tell people. If you're not going to tell people, don't share it. That's always been my kind of adage when it comes to these sort of things. If you have something happen to you medically, just keep it to yourself. I think that should be the main rule. You should be a little bit private when it comes to that sort of stuff, regardless if you're a public figure or not. But if you're then going to share it, you have to, I don't think you have to, but it does seem a bit odd that you would share something and then not really say what happened. You know? I find that a bit strange, but get well soon to him anyway. Again, no surprise, right? They've been burning the fucking candle at both ends kind of music. They've been playing all over. And I think for Adam Paul, it's probably, I would say it's a lot harder, right? To be a professional DJ at his level and be stone cold sober. It probably takes way more out of you. It's probably way more exhausting. Like in terms of his social battery, in terms of just being alive and stuff, it's probably harder. I would think. It's probably way harder to be a professional DJ when you are sober. So it's not surprising that his body gave out the way it did, because they have been going crazy with the gigs. I'm sure if I looked on RA, they've been probably playing, let me actually check now, they've probably been playing every fucking week, you know, for the last however many fucking months, back to back to back to back. So let's double check actually. So don't say Ramper, let's do Adam Paul RA, I meant to say. So let's do Adam Paul RA. Let's go on these RA fucking listings and shit, artist profile, and let's do past events. And I bet you he's played a lot. Yeah, see? October, 2 dates. September, 1. August, 3 places. 3 dates. July, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 dates in July in 4 different countries. New York, Mykonos, Greece, Paris, and Amsterdam. That is a brutal schedule, bro. How did he end it, by the way? What way around? Yeah, okay, so I guess it's okay because he ended it in he didn't go New York and then Greece and then Germany. That's brutal. He went Amsterdam, Paris, which is, I guess, some sort of maybe a short journey on the weekend, and then the following weekend he did Greece and New York. 4 dates. June he did, oh my god, look at June. In June he did Spain, Greece, London, Barcelona, Denmark. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dates. May, 3 dates across Egypt, Spain, and Turkey. March, 1 day in Brazil. January, 1 day in Mexico. But during the summer anyway, he's been proper going for it. So it's no surprise. And obviously the previous year, 2024, August, he did another 5 dates. No, 6 dates in August. Oh my god. Fucking crazy. So not too surprising that his body decided to give out the way it did. I'm just glad that he's, you know, okay and not fucking awful. So big up Adam Paul. Signing through some of the pictures here on his Instagram. You see him, there's some flowers. You see him there lying on the bed. You see some tasty hospital food. Looks like it got printed out of a computer. But again, you know, I'm sure he was thankful for it at the time. And I guess it also must be really lonely going to hospital on the road. It's lonely anyway in general, hospitals, right? You know, I think hospitals are, the older you get, the more times you might get ill and stuff and have to go to hospital, the more you realize who's really by your side, because those are usually the moments where you know who your real friends are. And it kind of reminds you, especially, or it's kind of a wake-up call that, you know, your younger years where you're surrounded by everybody, like I was, right? Always in the midst of a bunch of people and stuff, in the center of 1,000 people trying to get near you trying to get near them. It kind of changes when you get older. And I imagine it's even worse when you're on holiday, when you're working abroad and you get ill. It's probably way worse when you're working abroad and you get ill. Like, god damn, that must be fucking lonely. It must be fucking lonely, must be scary as fuck when you're in the hospital all by yourself. So yeah, this looks good. This munch looks pretty good though, with the wedges and the fucking sauce and the sausage. Pause. But this looks fucking good. The little fucking glizzy shit there. More flowers and more meals. So yeah, big up Adam. To be fair, the food that he got, what is it, Cyprus? The hospital food in Cyprus looks pretty bomb, I'm not gonna lie. It looks very neutrally dense and whatever else it may be. So great to see him back. Great to see him back. Big up fucking Adam Paul. All the comments, and obviously in the comment sections as well. Loads of great ones there. Everyone wishing him well wishes. We love to hear it. We love to freaking hear it. Adam Paul and Anmi have also announced. Anmi and Adam Paul have announced a back-to-back gig featuring them playing in Finsbury Park in London, August 9th. Now, this is a bit strange. It's not Adam Port, Rampart, and me. It's only and me and Adam Port. So it's only 2/3, 2 out of the 3 kind of music people playing. Now, I don't know why that is. Is it because Rampers fully booked somewhere else? Could the Crank Brothers only afford and me and Adam Port? Has the price gone up that much? Like, I wonder, because kind of music are killing it. I wonder if they do this thing where like they increase their fucking booking fee every year. Every year their booking fee goes up 30% or something. I don't know what happens, but they couldn't book Ramper. We've only got Adam Port and me playing, which is not a bad thing, you know, because it's still going to be a fucking vibe. And it's also going to be cool because if I'm not mistaken, usually me and Ramper play together. We don't really see Adam Port and me playing together, or maybe Adam Port and Ramper. So it's a combination you don't really see all the time. I think so, if I'm not mistaken, judging by the outside in, or just from my, going off the fucking top of my head. I'm pretty sure I've not seen a lot of gigs where me and Adam Port play. But anyway, Finsbury Park, London, August the 9th, 2026. This is a big fucking heads up, by the way. Like, they are really planning this. Like, this is like a long build up, run up. Like, this is crazy, bro. Crazy that we're getting notice of this rave in what? November of 2025 for a party that's happening in August next year. August 2026. Fucking insane. Fucking insane. It's basically in 11 months, 10 months or something, right? 10 months fucking heads up. Fucking crazy. But I'm assuming it's probably because there's a lot of tickets, probably. Finsbury Park venue. I'm assuming there's probably a lot of tickets available. They're probably going to be priced very highly too. So you're going to have to make sure that you give people a lot of heads up so that people can buy tickets ahead of time. There's obviously a little bit of promo here. Let's check out the promo a little bit. Again, sorry, my fucking headphones aren't working correctly. Let's see the promo anyway. No sound? Cool. Is there no sound there? The promo? Is it, don't know what's going on there, but hey, no sound. And then some other thing there as well. So yeah, what it says here: hey London, we're back Finsbury Park for another round. Adam Port says in the comments, please don't look back in anger because I played Wonderwall. Hilarious. Hilarious. Big up Nikki as well in the stream chat there. What's that in the fucking comments? Finsbury Park as a venue is a win, so it was good 2 years ago. Great to see. Big up somebody called Jordan Lee saying DJ inflation's so bad in UK we can't even afford the whole kind of music. We're so done as a nation. I love it. Another person says back to Finsbury. So everyone loves Finsbury Park. Finsbury Park must have got a good vibe then. We're so back. Finsbury for the win. Why is Finsbury so good? I knew they were going to bring out their London date finally. They've been putting out so much different cities. 15th of June was a day to remember. Before that, 2024 Finsbury was they played at Finsbury Park on the 15th of June. Okay, I like that. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see if we can find that actually. Kinda music. Finsbury Park. Let's see. When did they? I don't remember this. Did they play that? Did anyone make a vlog about that? Let's see. Any vlogs that I can see here? Crank Brother, welcome. Finsbury. Any roundups? Any? There we go. Kinda Music London vlog. Is that from? Oh, that's from 2024. Okay, cool. Let's check this out. Actually, big up this person that made this one. There's a London vlog for 2024.
In June, and they were just like unreal. So yeah, it should be really good. And there's support from like Alan Dixon as well, so it should be a good day.
Hold on, Armin Dixon played at this event too. Jesus Christ! Armin Dixon played at this event as well. Are you insane? Innovision and kind of music. Oh my god, that must have been Ramo.
For a while, because we were staying at my auntie, but we're just heading to Finsbury Park now. To make this so we went for past 3. But it's very busy, so it should be decent. Hopefully the queue isn't too long, which we're hoping. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Not gonna lie, it looks like a vibe, innit? It looks like a vibe. It looks like a fucking vibe. I'll probably play the rest of it later, but big up the person called The Staple. That looks like a vibe. Finsbury Park looks like a vibe. Probably looking forward to that one. I've never actually been, I don't think I've been to a Kind of Music London event in ages. I can't remember the last one I went to, or if I've ever been to one. I'm not too sure, but I would probably like to go see this next year. I'm not gonna lie. And this is a nice heads up already. August 9th. 2026. We're already getting notice of it. I'll probably try and get my tickets as well. That looks like it's going to be a fucking vibe. And me, Adam Port, Finsbury Park, definitely going to try and check that out. Definitely going to try and check that out when it does eventually happen. Big up them, big up them, big up Blood Clot them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the Excellent Zinger Show, episode number, what is it? 970. Thanks so much for tuning in. 970, the Excellent Zinger Show. Thank you for tuning in. Been a pleasure to have your company. If it's your first time sitting here, make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe before you leave. Make sure you like the chat, like the fucking stream, smash the like button, and obviously subscribe, all that good shit. If you listen to this pod via the podcast app, you should be hearing my tune today, which is from the one and only Brockhoff, and it's the track playing Easy Peeler. This is from Brockhoff from the fucking album Easy Peeler, dropping, where's it? Oh, next year. Shit, 5th of June next year. What a heads up. So one of the singles from the album coming up next year, June, is from Brockhoff. The song is called Easy Peeler. That's my song of the day. For those of you wanting random show, we're going to be back again about 11:30 later tonight, my UK time. So make sure you come back for that. We're going to dissect the fucking, Joanna Schaub on the fucking Tie Fighting the Kids show and all that malarkey and some more bits and bobs. But for now, thank you for tuning in. The Excellent Zinger Show, episode number 970. Links and everything else for sending myself in the description. I'll see the rest of you guys later again. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out. Peace out. Peace.